All right. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Jeremy Aagard. I'm the general manager of the Rochester Honkers. As you can see behind me, our new and improved logo is making its presence known. A little bit about us as we move forward, just to let everybody know. This will be my third season with the Honkers, almost 2 decades in summer collegiate baseball. And so excited to be in Rochester this summer and welcome Justin Velazquez as our broadcaster, voice of the Honkers, and general overall make the Honkers look good guy, Justin Velazquez.
Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be the general overall make the Honkers look good guy.
Perfect. And give everybody kind of a feel of what's going on. This is just a chance for our fans to get to know Justin. You'll hear him and see him. Well, more here because the action is going to be on the field, but all season long, as all of our games are webcast on our website, and all of our road games will be carried on Mixlr. So make sure to join us for all 72 games. Hopefully we get some playoffs in there. But Justin came up with a great idea to let all of our fans know a little bit more in depth of our coaches, of our players, and really give our fans the opportunity to have an inside look into the Honkers. And so this is really the introduction, and this isn't going to be your standard interview. We don't have scripted questions. We're just going to talk and some about baseball and some about the Honkers and some about life, but give you really a good feel for who the Honkers are coming into 2022.
Yeah, it's pretty much like a podcast, except you're getting the visual as well. So every episode is going to be released every Friday at noon Central Time. And we're going to have players on, coaches. Andrew Urbastando, the head coach, is going to be our guest in episode 2 next Friday. So it's going to be a weekly thing. Expect some post on the Honkers social medias in about Tuesday or Wednesday during the week to just kind of tease the episode, give you an inside glimpse. But this is just going to be nothing more than a conversation with players and coaches, getting to know them, humanizing them, and having them share their stories to our fans.
Yeah, we've got some incredible players, and you'll see them coming out soon with our announcements. But we've announced that Carson Stevens and Jack Collette will be coming back to amazing young man on and off the field, played for us this year. But Justin, let's talk a little about you. What got you into broadcasting? Like what makes you go, hey, I want to be that guy?
Yeah, so I grew up in Manhattan, New York, kind of in that Chinatown area right next to the FDR Drive. And I grew up a Mets fan. So if you ask any Met fan in broadcasting, the answer is going to be Gary Cohen or Howie Rose, any Met fan around my age. And like my answer is Gary Cohen. Like he is one of the reasons why I decided to pursue this. I grew up watching Met games. I won't say every night because growing up in New York, we didn't have SNY. So any game on Pix 11, I would make sure like I would watch, like I would schedule my day around that game. So it would usually be a Saturday, like the weekends. And I'll watch Gary Cohen. And then once I moved out of New York in high school, I immediately got MLB TV and have been watching every Met game, since about 2014 now. But yeah, I started watching 2009, and just kind of Gary's enthusiasm, because he's so good. Like he's so good at everything, but like his big calls are great and they're all memorable. Like the Javi Baez calls, scoring, turn those thumbs around, like that was just a great call. And, he's the biggest reason why I've decided to pursue this broadcasting.
And it's interesting because, and I've been around a long time, and guys that are not a whole lot older than me, but they always told me like, I got to be a baseball fan because like I'd go in my room at night and I'd turn on the radio and I'd listen to every single game. But that's not the case anymore. Nobody listens to the radio.
Driving, I'll turn it on. Like Kevin Harlan on the radio. I mean, you can't go wrong. Ian Eagle. Super Bowl coming up. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody, it's all video now. But radio's fun, I think.
And I've got a broadcasting background. I might be a little bit partial towards radio, but and like we said, no scripted questions. This is just us shooting the bull. Justin has no idea what I'm going to talk about. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. But you mentioned some of those calls that are memorable for you growing up. But man, you've been around sports. You've been doing play-by-play for a bunch of different sports. What is there a memory like? Man, I'm so glad I saw that and I got to call that. Is there something that sticks out for you?
There's a bad call that stands out. There's also a good one too, but I went to college at the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting at Full Sail University, and they have a partnership with Rollins College. So I got to call a lot of their softball games before COVID came and everything shut down. But there was one Chelsea Peace hit a game-tying home run in the bottom of the seventh. Like they were down to their final out. She had been the best hitter in the conference that season, and she hits this home run, and I make the call, and I never lay out. So you've got this crowd going crazy, and I'm just talking over it the entire time, and I watch it back, and I'm like, why? Why did I talk so much? Why? So that's a bad one that stands out. I don't think I have a call that stands out, but there's a game. So with the Winter Garden Squeeze last year in the Florida Collegiate Summer League, that's where I spent my summer. They played a hectic kind of like a wild card playoff game. It was the first playoff game. And I was really proud to be me and Nevada Cullen, who's also working in the Northwoods League. We called that game together, and I was really proud to be on the call for the first playoff game. It was this 5-hour game with like 3 ejections. They were playing the Diamond Dogs. The Squeeze went down 8-0, end up coming back. They get the tying run to the plate in the 9th inning. They end up losing, but it was a great game, hectic game. And that's definitely a moment that stands out.
That's awesome. And I've been on the side of the bad calls. My internship year, our broadcaster had to go, I think in a wedding. And so we went out, it was in the Northwoods League, went out to Wausau, Wisconsin. And I called a no-hitter against us. You want to talk about trying to keep the excitement there, except there's nothing to talk about. It was, it was unbelievable game to see. Never forget Lance Broadway was the kid's name. He was going into Dallas Baptist. Phenomenal game, but man, that's tough when it goes in a direction you don't plan for, or like you said, 5 hours. Like, how do you come up with that? So let me ask you, how do you fill that time when you're like playing the longest game known to man?
Preparation, right? You've got to be prepared in every game. So like as a broadcaster, you obviously want every game to be close. You want that, bases loaded, 2 out, 1-run game, top or bottom of the 9th inning scenario, but that's not going to happen every time. So when you get that game, that's the Dodgers Braves NLCS game a couple of years ago, where it's 9-0 in the first inning, and like the game is a wrap, basically a wrap. That's where you got to be prepared to, you got some stories you want to tell, but you also just kind of got to joke around like, hey, this game is, you obviously want to take it seriously, but not too seriously. You want to have fun, tell some jokes, be as entertaining as possible, while not making the game all about yourself and still primarily focusing on the ball game at hand.
I think that's something that some broadcasters struggle with. Is it's very easy to talk about yourself. Everybody loves to talk about themselves, but how do you keep the listener engaged, still telling the story, painting the picture of the game, keeping it interesting? Because like you mentioned earlier, you got a team that was down 8-0 and they come back. Well, at any point, any team can come back. And a coach that I had worked with a long time ago, he always said, I asked him one time, but he always said this. I said, when do you know to start putting in some of your bullpen that maybe just needs to eat some innings? Maybe they're not your top end of your bullpen. And he goes, well, I'll stop scoring when they stop trying to score. Okay. It was kind of like that message of, hey, you got to keep your foot on the gas, because the minute you let it off, that team's coming back. And this year, in 2021, we had a fantastic group of guys. And I mean, we ended up losing some games that we were right there, but we were that team that was the grit, the fire was in their bellies. And man, it was just fun to watch. And yeah, I mean, we want to win every game. There's no question. We always want to win every game, but man, the talent that these guys had, the grit that they had, the fight on the field was just amazing to watch. And I look forward to that coming back this year. But is there a team, in professional, or, like your experience last year, is there a team where you're like, man, these guys are so good, but it's just frustrating?
The Squeeze were kind of like that last year for the Florida League. They had so many great position players. And what ended up happening is like the pitching was lackluster. It didn't match. So they ended up in a lot of these kind of 12 to 10, 13 to 11 games where like they can hit, but like you're expecting them to score like 9, 10 runs every night. And that's just not a realistic thing. So that's definitely one that stands out. They were such a talented team. Like they had in the All-Star game, 4 of the top 5 hitters were on the Squeeze of one lineup. So like they had a bunch of studs. But there's definitely like some, they definitely could have gone farther if the pitching staff held up.
Yeah, it's and I'll tell you, like, we've got amazing fans. So the Honkers have 5 championships in the league, which is the winningest franchise in the league. Now, I'm not willing to sit back and go, yeah, we won a lot. No, we want to win number 6, and we hope it's this year. But the tradition for winning on the field is there. But seeing how our players interact with the fans, especially last year, was just awesome. People were finally getting out. They were excited to be back at the ballpark. They were excited to be able to get some autographs from the players. It's a really, really cool experience for those young kids. And I try to tell all of our players, like, look, don't forget, it wasn't long ago that you were that little kid that wanted an autograph from somebody. So take a minute and talk to a kid and make his day, sign that autograph and soak in the spotlight, man. Enjoy every minute of it. But in talking about that, you'll have an opportunity this summer to really obviously interact with the players and travel with the team. But is there anything in particular that you're looking from this perspective of this show that you're looking to showcase to the fans for the players or from the players?
Yeah, just showcasing that, the human side of them, right? Like you see player go 4 for 5 with 3 home runs and you're like, man, this guy's superhuman. Like he's amazing. That was David Wright for me growing up. But like just showing like AJ Campbell, who is on the Honkers. I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but he has a YouTube channel. So like having them tell their stories of how they got into baseball, anything they've struggled with, etc. That is the biggest part of this, is to humanize these players and coaches, have them tell their stories, create a stronger connection between the players and the fans.
And I think the human side of it, because we know we're going to see some amazing baseball. Like I'm telling you, if you've never been to a Honkers game, you're going to see great baseball. But throughout the years of me doing this, I've had a player that was he was studying to be a CPA, studying for his exam during the summer. Now what do we play? 72 games in 77 days. These guys are on the road all the time. They're at the ballpark. This guy's studying for his CPA exam, which is not easy. I know there's some very intelligent people out there that haven't passed their CPA exam on the first try, but I'm thinking, my goodness. I know I've got a dentist that has come through the program. I mean, countless guys that have gone on off the field. And it's just neat to be able to get to know these guys. And I'm sure you've seen that in the past where some of these guys have personalities where you're just like, wow, that guy's hilarious. And then the next guy sitting next to him, you're like, does that guy ever talk? Is he even awake? And we had a combination of that this past year. But it's business. They step between the lines, they go to work. And you'll see, you mentioned AJ Campbell. So spoiler alert, AJ Campbell from Frostburg State is coming back. He was with us in 2020. He's a two-way guy, third baseman and right-handed pitcher. He was slated to come back for us in 2021, but very similar to, unfortunately, a lot of guys said they hadn't played in so long. He just got too aggressive too fast and blew out his UCL and ended up needing Tommy John. So he's recovered from Tommy John. He does have his own YouTube channel. He documented his whole experience, which I think is phenomenal, to see what these guys go through. And excited that he's a personality that he's very intelligent, he's very outgoing, but he's very humble. He's never going to tell you he's the best guy on the field. What he's going to tell you every single day is there's somebody about to take that field that's better than me, but I'm going to work harder than he is, so I'm going to be better than him. And that's the kind of like wow factor that these guys bring. But and now I'm talking about all of my experiences, but Justin, we want to get to know you better as you take the reins and the helm of this series and of the summer. But man, I'm telling you, I've seen some incredible athletes come through and incredible young men. And I think that's the best thing that I can tell anybody. We our host family, all of our players live with host families. And so they open up their homes to guys they've never met from all across the country. And our host families have been amazing and extremely supportive of all our players. We couldn't do what we do without them. It's just it's an amazing experience. And I've talked to host families from years ago. Oh yeah, so-and-so just got married and we were at the wedding and now they have a kid, and they carry on these conversations. And for me, like, I can remember almost all the guys that have played for and with me. What I don't remember is what year. And so I'm like, oh yeah, I remember so-and-so, but I'm thinking, what team was he on? Was that the 2010? It all blends together. But and I've had my favorites over the course of the years, and you'll get to travel around. You'll see a lot of the ballparks. Maybe that's where we should go next. But the Northwoods League has some amazing ballparks. You'll get to go out to Bismarck, North Dakota, for a 4-game set out there at the beginning of our season. And Bismarck does an unbelievable job out there. I mean, they pack the stands, they entertain from the minute you walk in to the minute you walk out. It's not necessarily a fun bus ride, but once you're there, it's good. So have you done a lot of traveling with teams? Is that something you're accustomed to?
Yeah, so the interesting part of being with the Squeeze last year in the Florida League is they were the only team without a home ballpark. So I was traveling every day, driving about 2.5 hours every day to the games there and back. So there was a lot of traveling. The Florida League has 6 teams. There's 3 or 4 ballparks that we go to. But it would be a case where it's, we go to Sanford one day, and then we go to Winter Park the next, and then we'd be in Leesburg for 2, and then we'd go back to Winter Park, things like that. In terms of like professional ballparks, I would love to one day go to like San Francisco and the Pirates ballpark, Wrigley Field, Fenway. I've never been to any of them. I've been to, like, both Shea Stadium, Citi Field, both Yankee Stadiums, Marlins Park, kind of like I've lived in New York and Florida. So like that would be the standard parks that I would go to. I'm really excited to just get that summer ball experience of like traveling with the team. And I got it a little bit last year, but definitely going to get it much more this year, going to different parks, doing home and away games, which is, like with the Squeeze last year, every game felt like an away game, so having that home park, seeing the fans, maybe running into a fan taking a picture with them, just chatting it up like a normal conversation. It's all going to be really fun. I'm excited for it.
And it's always been interesting to me because like parents, they listen, they watch. When they come to the ballparks, a lot of times they get a chance to meet them. And I would say almost all the time they'll say, "Hey, where's Justin? We'd really like to meet Justin because we get to listen to him. We're excited to." But you'll also get if you mispronounce one of the players' names, they're going to let you know. But that's obviously something we look for ahead of time. But yeah, the parents, they will, man, they will eat it up. They'll look at you like a professional broadcaster, and they will be your biggest fan. It's so exciting to see these players, and if you have an opportunity to open it up, if hey, tweet at Honkers if you're a parent and blah blah blah, open it up if you're available to do that kind of stuff. They'll give you little tidbits, which are always embarrassing to the guys, but they're really cool to learn. But yeah, the parents coming in. I'm trying to think of I mean, I've met numerous parents, and fortunately we've been very lucky. We've had a lot of great young men come through the program that here and where I was. But man, when you can get them on your side, and I'm trying to think of who came in last year. We had quite a few come in last year, and it was just interesting. And typically it's mom. Mom will tell you the little tidbits. Dad's going to say, hey, what's his swing look like? Or is he doing this kind of stuff? But when you're traveling on the bus and you're getting to know these guys, and then you hear some of the stuff from the parents, you're like, oh, well, that makes sense. Okay. It's you never know what to expect over the course of the summer. And I'm sure you've seen it in your time too. Like, you can look around and go, did that really just happen? What?
Yeah.
You can't make this stuff up. But no, so we travel all by charter bus. We have a great company we work with. So Wi-Fi on the bus, and it used to be a big deal back in the day. Like, okay, Justin, you're in charge of movies, and then you would never hear the end of it if you didn't get the right movies. Like, they would always go to Redbox, and the broadcaster would pick out 3 or 4 movies that, hey, this would be a good movie to watch on a road trip. But man, I'm telling you, these guys, the players, are going to let you know if you don't have a good movie. Well, now everybody watches their phone. They all have MLB TV, and it's not as big of a deal. But man, when you're coming home some of those nights and it's late and you just want to get home, but there's a big game on, nobody's asleep on the bus. Everybody's paying attention to what's going on, and playing some cards, that kind of stuff. But it's interesting to see how the coaches set it up on a bus, because every head coach is going to have their seat.
Yeah.
And after the first game, everybody's going to know that's his seat. Nobody sits there. But then how it goes beyond that is just, it's entertaining to watch. So I'm intrigued to see if you've got some stories after the first couple of road trips that hey, did you know this happens on the bus? And maybe there's some videos you'll be able to get to. And that's something, as we talk about this kind of a scenario, is you're going to be at every away game. And during BP, there's guys that are just hanging out or shagging. Is that something you think would be interesting to you, to take a video camera or even a microphone and just go talk to these guys while they're doing that, like their BP rituals? Or am I just kind of in my own world?
Oh no, that would be fun. It would be a lot of fun to have like mics hooked up to them and just do like a mic'd up segment. Maybe like, just that type of thing. That would be really fun to do. Like, see what they're chatting about during the game, what they're joking about, the pitcher shagging fly balls in the outfield. We had that with the squeeze last year. But yeah, those are the moments. You don't want to be, too overbearing and like, disrupting them during their routines. But if you see like they're just kind of hanging out, have a conversation with them like, hey, did you see, Jacob DeGrom throw a 96-mile-per-hour slider the other day because the guy is ridiculous. And then, stuff like that. So like that's really fun.
I'm intrigued to see, you mentioned who you look up to. I'm intrigued to see who these guys look up to. Is it a guy that plays their same position? Is it a guy that just plays the game the right way? That's what this series is all about, is just creating that insight. We will have a couple of jersey auctions. We did last year, we did a cow print jersey with the American Dairy Association. And the guys were like, hey, I really want to buy this. Can we auction these off? And we're like, no, we're going to use them for multiple years. But this year, the American Dairy Association said, hey, we're gonna auction those off. Okay, great. And then we're going to do a striking out cancer night. So guys will have pink jerseys. In my experience, the guys typically don't enjoy wearing a pink jersey, but it looks really good. And with the Hormel Institute, we're going to do some really cool things and auction those off. And, that'll go to cancer research, which I don't know anybody that hasn't been touched by cancer in some way. And to say the other C word, the COVID conversation, we're excited to just really get back to normal, but there are still people that can't come to the game. So now I'm putting you on the spot. Are there things that you want to talk about, or even just kind of brainstorm for the fans that they can look forward to, that you're anxious to bring to them this summer, other than things like this series?
Just, to the fans, like, I'm going to make sure you learn something every night. That is my number one thing. Like, it's going to be informative, whether it's a statistic, a story. Most of the time it's going to be stories, but I want to tell those stories that connect. That's such a huge thing, is storytelling. When I went at Full Sail, I swear I might have heard storytelling like 10 times every class. That's just such a huge thing. I want to be a calming presence, feel like you're just sitting like super relaxed, like we're talking one-on-one on the broadcast, but also, telling that really rare statistic that, hey, this player became the first player in Honkers history last night to do this. Or more importantly, this story about how this player dealt with this growing up, and now he has this is how his way of giving back, or they crossed upon this on like a day off, and this really touched them, something like that. But like it's not gonna be something like that you already know. Like I want it to be bringing an additional kind of footprint on the broadcast to tell these stories, humanize players, for bring the connection closer. That's my number one job.
Awesome. And that's what's exciting. And that's why, when we interviewed you, it was like, okay, he's our guy. I love your excitement. I love your passion. I love just, you've got something that you can't teach. And I think that's that initiative, that drive, like, hey, like I said with AJ Campbell, like, maybe you're not the best broadcaster, but you're going to work harder than any other broadcaster to make sure that the fans notice that. And I don't know, you might be the broadcaster. As far as I'm concerned, you're the best broadcaster in the league today. But those are the things that I think we really want to get to our fans. Like, we talked about, okay, we got our new logo. If you follow our social media, we've announced that we're redoing one of our suites. And one of the coolest conversations actually happened today. We got a host family who's been hosting for, it's got to be at least 10 years. And she said, Jeremy, I'm so excited to get to the ballpark. I love everything you guys are doing. And I'm sitting there thinking in the back of my mind, like, you don't even know half the stuff we want to do. So, okay, we're on the right track. But that's, I guess, my mission in this conversation is I want to let our fans know, like, hey, Justin's going to do this. This is going to be awesome. You're going to get to know our players before they ever even show up. Now, keep in mind, unfortunately, it could happen that one of our guys does get hurt and isn't able to make it. So as much as we want you to be a fan and know these guys, unfortunately, those things happen, and it's out of our control. But then we want to get the next guy in line who comes in and get them interviewed as well. So you know them just as well. And you'll see some turnover on our roster. And Justin will do his best to tell the story of, okay, look, here's what happened. Here's why this person's coming in. And sometimes late in the season, guys just get worn out. They're tired because we play 72 games, but they're also coming off of what, Justin, a 50 game college schedule. So they're playing a lot of games, they're throwing a lot of innings. And we want to make this an amazing experience for them as well. You've heard before, like, we want to win, but man, I want the guys that come to Rochester to have the best summer they can have. Let's go have a good time. Let's go, let's go shake hands and kiss babies in the crowd for a few minutes, but let's go put some runs on the board during the game. We'll go out, we'll read to some daycares in the community. We'll be very active, and we want to make sure that we're good community partners and do what we need to do to be active, to get our guys ingratiated in the community. And it's always fun because they're summer collegiate, right? So they have to maintain their eligibility. So it's always cool when we go to talk to kids and our players have to talk about good grades. So it's always a nice story, good feel good stuff. But that's something, like you say, telling a story, telling maybe not always a stat, but I guess since we've talked about AJ, but AJ is an engineering student who has off the charts grades, but have a conversation with the guy, you'd never know he's a straight A student, or maybe he's close to it. But man, that's what I'm excited about, Justin, is you're going to be able to tell all these stories, and I'm capitalizing your time. See, this is what we're telling you, folks. This is just us having a conversation. And I guess the only reason I am really is I've just been around it longer, and we have yet to get you to Rochester. We have a phenomenal community here. I'm so excited to get you into Rochester, but the surrounding areas of Rochester, everybody that I've talked to is so supportive of the Honkers. And, obviously the last 2 years is COVID, but people are just excited to get to the ballpark. They're excited to have a good time with their friends. They're excited to get out. And the number one thing I hear, Justin, is about our deck. Still got the deck? Yep, we still have the deck. Yep, it's still all you can eat and drink. Yep. But putting our focus on groups, we want to put the focus on the fan entertainment, and you're a big part of that, because if the fans can't make it to the ballpark, you are the entertainment for them. And I don't think I've had a lot of broadcasters over the course of the years, but the direction we're going, I don't think we could have picked a better fit for the story we want to tell moving forward other than you, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah, it's a giant responsibility being a voice of a franchise, and it's one I don't take lightly. I take it seriously. I don't take it as seriously as like I'm stiff all the time,
Right.
And always so serious. Like, main thing is to have fun, and that's what I'm looking forward to, is having fun, not being being like a broadcaster, whether you're in college or just out of college like I am. Like, you're always focused on it, like improving. Like, all right, I did this game, I'm watching it back, I've got to be better at this. So I've got a crutch word here, I've got a layout here, I can elaborate on this here. But like, I don't want to get caught up in all of that. I want to kind of take it all in, enjoy the moments, be in the moment. That's something like my dad kind of is always hammering on me, just like, stay in the moment, like, don't overthink things, don't look too far in the future, just kind of being present time, is what he says.
I like it.
So yeah, it's a huge responsibility, and I'm excited to get down, tell those stories. Going like back to storytelling, like baseball is such 72 game season. Like, that's a long season. It's not 162, but that's still a grind. And like, during the season, like, things change. You're gonna have that player that the first week or two is maybe hitting 200 or something like that, and the final month or so he goes on a tear, he hits 375. Maybe there's a mechanical tweak in his swing, seeing the ball better, moves. We had a player for the Squeeze last year, all he did was move closer to the plate so he can connect on that outside corner. He could cover the outside corner because he was rolling over everything, and then bang, He led the league in RBIs. So things like that, the pitcher that makes the mechanical tweak and is all of a sudden dealing every start, 6 innings, 1 run, like every time out, like an ace. Like those developments throughout the season is really fun to track in baseball, and what makes baseball so great as well.
What's the dream, Justin? Where do you want to? Is it the Mets?
It's MLB. The Mets would be the dream, but like just to make Major League Baseball, just call Major League Baseball games, is something I really want to do. Like that's the dream.
Awesome. No, it's an amazing dream, and we're happy to be a little bit of a step for you, and get you in and show off what you can do and help you. And for those that don't know, this is really, the entire league is developmental, right? The players, they're here to get better. They're here to get innings that maybe they didn't get at school. They're here to play by minor league rules with wood bats. They're trying to advance their career. All of our collegiate interns that come in and work during the summer, everybody's trying to get a foot in the door and advance their career. Although it be off the field, they're trying to get up. Umpires, they're trying to continue in their line of work. Everything we do in the Northwoods League is about developing and sending people on to the next level. And it always becomes bittersweet, I think. Because at the end of the summer, Justin, we're gonna be like, man, that was awesome. And then it's gonna be like, okay, see ya. Maybe. And I've been very fortunate, and I tell people all the time, like, look, I'm the one that gets to sit here and say, hey, that person worked for me. But you know who goes on? It's the people that have that drive already in them and that know where they want to get to, and really just take every opportunity to go, all right, what else can I do that's going to put me on the next step to my career? Those are the players that make it. Those are the interns that make it. And man, I'm telling you, like, we've got a great group that's come in the past. I'm excited about the group that's coming in this summer. We still do have some positions to fill. But man, I'm telling you that the things that you're starting this now, the things that you're going to carry on through the summer, the things that we're going to do at the ballpark that carry on through the summer, it's truly focused on the fan entertainment. So I have a family, very excited to have them at the ballpark. And my youngest daughter, I don't know if you can hear that on Zoom, but yes, my youngest daughter is trying to get to daddy. But honestly, that's what it's about. It's family affordable entertainment. It's just bringing your pals out, having a good time. For you, Justin, it's an opportunity to really just hone your skill and be a leader in the industry. And it's exciting to see where you're going, but I can already tell you, I mean, at the end of the summer, it's going to be like, we killed it and good luck. That's why I ask you what the dream is. I think it's important for our fans to realize, like, this isn't the dream. This is a step to the dream. But I know you're going to do a great job. We're going to kill it. And just to comment on the logo for just a second while I think about it, the comments that I'm hearing, and I don't know if you've showed it around Florida, but the comments that I'm hearing, boy, that goose looks angry. Well, he's fierce because he's competitive. And if you've never seen a live goose, I've never seen a happy one. And if you've been around and you've had one run at you, that's what they look like. They are not friendly. So I think it's just creating this image like, hey, we're here and we're going to be competitive and we're going to showcase stuff. But with this new logo and this new image, just so our fans know, Justin's going to take this and run with it and create just a new image, a new style, a new feel for the Honkers, because we've been here since 1994 and there's an unbelievable tradition here. And we don't want to go away from the tradition. What we want to do is just take that tradition that's been established and tweak it and take it to the next level for the next, 28 years.
That's exactly it. Just connecting with the fans, bringing the players and the coaches closer to the fans. That's what we want to do.
And Justin, let's wrap up here, but I would say let's put a challenge out there. If we have a fan that's listening or a parent that's listening, shoot us an email, shoot us a Facebook message. Let's see what it's like for a player parent to send their son across the country to somewhere they've never been, to live with somebody they've never met, and see what that experience is like. Or a fan, what is the fan experience like, and what are they most excited about? Not trying to take it out of your hands, but let's have some fun. Let's tell people what they want to know, and let's show some sides of the ball that they've never seen. Because I can imagine for your parents, it was tough to send you to Florida.
Oh yeah, the summer where actually when I moved to college, because we had moved to Florida in when I was in high school, we all moved together, but we moved to Port St. Lucie. I eventually moved to Orlando to go to college, and that was when I'll admit I cried on the way to Orlando the first day, but that was a big challenge for my dad because like I have 4 older brothers, they're all way older than me. So like he thought, all right, I'm gonna have 4 kids, that's it. And then I come and then work together. Like he raised me. I have a stepmom now, but like he raised me pretty much by himself. And seeing me go away was definitely hard on him. We still talk every day, a couple times a day. But yeah, like seeing me go away was very hard for him, very hard for me too. It's a challenging thing. I'm still staying with them. I'm staying with them now after I finish with the squeeze. But this is like this is going to be the first time where we don't live in the same state. Lived in New York together. We lived in Tennessee together for a year when my dad and my stepmom got married. Lived in Florida together. Where come May, they're gonna live in Florida. I'm gonna live in Minnesota. It's gonna be a very different transition for me and my parents, because they can't like drive 2 hours to go see me at college, so it's going to be very challenging and a lot of FaceTime calls, a lot of FaceTime.
Yes. Yep. And that's okay. And actually it's interesting. I've talked to a gentleman who lives here locally. His son plays baseball in Missouri, and he was home for the holidays, and then obviously baseball starts. They're going to see him at the opening series, and he's going to go play summer ball, and they're going to go out and visit him for a week during summer ball, but they won't be able to spend any like legitimate time from New Year's until Thanksgiving. So I can only imagine what these players' parents go through when their kids are on the road, they're playing ball all the time. Like you mentioned, I mean, it's not for everybody. It's not just a quick trip. It's an adventure. So the more I think about it, I'm really intrigued to see what the player parent goes through. I'd love to get some insight there, and I know you'll do an amazing job with trying to tell that story as well. So very excited. But I think this is amazing. But from now on this series, you will not see me, so I won't talk all the time. Justin's going to take the reins. Like you said, you got to introduce to Andrew Uberstando, our coach from San Joaquin Delta. Very, very excited to have him. Every time I talk to him, the energy level is amazing. I've been very fortunate in my career to have some wonderful coaches. Really excited to see what Andrew brings to the table. Our assistant coaches are coming together. The roster's coming together, and you'll see that Justin is putting out our press releases on guys, and we stagger those to not announce everybody at the one time. But man, there's a lot on the horizon for the Honkers leading up to the summer and through the summer, and I just appreciate everybody taking the time to listen to us and catch up on what's new with the Honkers. And man, I'm telling you, tune in every week, because Justin's going to bring a great show to you.
Yeah, coaches, players, parents, it's all hands on deck for this. I said it earlier, but it's about telling stories and making that player / coach to fan connection even closer, and that's my job.
Awesome. Well, let's look forward to seeing Justin next week with Coach Andrew Rubberstando, and in weeks to come. Thanks everybody for listening, and we open up May 31st. No, excuse me, May 30th, which is Memorial Day, at home in Rochester. If you got a chance to come join us, great. If you can't be here, then join us through our website on the Northwoods League TV and Web Pass.